Good morning. I'm gonna do a video that's not normal for my channel, which is working on a trailer. I actually used to manage a shop where I worked on trailers every single day, multiple times a day. This one has a bent axle. You probably can't tell by the tire. This one is all chopped. What is wrong with you? Anyways, this one's all chopped up. And then this one, you can probably tell right there, is completely worn out. So what we're going to do, I've already got another axle. There's very minimal tools required for this. You need a 21mm socket to be able to take the wheels off. And considering this has brakes on it, I have to swap the hubs out. That one doesn't have hubs on it. You have to have a pair of either needle noses or wire cutters and a pair of channel locks. And then you have to have a pair of wire strippers and crimpers to be able to reconnect the brakes. And of course a 19mm for the spring shackles underneath. So I'm gonna try my best not to destroy the cap. They have a specific tool to be able to take this off that I don't have. I'm gonna do my best not to destroy it. I've done it a couple times in the past, but I haven't done a trailer in ages. So anyways, I'm going to get started on it and see just how far we can get. Alright, so since my camera is finally charged up enough and updated, I can finally start doing some work here. I didn't want any of this not to be seen, so this is 21mm or 13/16 studs. Grease everywhere. And I'll have to find some channel locks here in just a minute, or at least something to be able to grip that cap with. I did get some gloves. Also need my other tools that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. I'll go grab those real quick. Alright, let's see if we can do this without having the Chanel locks. Take our flat head and put it behind the lip. Tappy, 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 a little round. It will work its way out, so. Alright, so since my camera is finally charged up enough and updated, I can finally start doing some work here. I didn't want any of this not to be seen, so this is 21 millimeter or 13/16 studs. Grease everywhere. And I'll have to find some channel locks here in just a minute, or at least something to be able to grip that cap with. I did get some gloves. Also need my other tools that I mentioned in the beginning of the video. I'll go grab those real quick. Alright, let's see if we can do this without having the Chanel locks. Take our flat head and put it behind the lip. Tappy, 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 a little round. It will work its way out, so. Sorry about that, I had a delivery show up. So he may end up needing to replace at least a plug. This plug is separated from the outside section. I'm gonna use the kid's bucket here to be able to put stuff in. Now, the cotter pin could be bent in a few different ways. I don't really like doing mine the way that they did theirs, so I'll show you how I do mine when I'm done and ready to put it back together. You want it to be as straight as possible, that way you don't have to fight with this to go through. This is not 180 degrees out from one another, it's about 60 degrees, right? 120 degrees, I don't know. It's not directly across from one another. The outside is here, the inside is just, let's say this is 12 o'clock, this would be 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. You can barely get it poking through there on the head of it, and you can take your wire cutters onto the bottom side at an angle, that way you can start prying it out of there. And you're using the castle nut to be able to allow you to pull, and then you're going to use the outside of the drum or the hub, depending on what you're taking apart, and then you can either replace that or straighten it out and reuse it. Considering the fact he didn't bring any more, we're going to be reusing it. Now, since I can't find my channel locks, I have a couple options I can use. I have a massive pipe wrench back here behind me. I don't have a lot of room for that, so I'm not going to use it. Take a flathead and stick it in there. Turn it loose. It's not supposed to be extremely tight anyways, so you shouldn't have to worry about fighting too much. Here's our castle nut. It's a 1-inch castle nut. Pretty sure it's like 1 inch 24 or something like that. You do have a washer inside of here, and then you have your outside bearing. Sometimes you'll have a tang on this, but not usually with the round one. It's only with the D shape. But you want to put one of your hands up under the outer section of the bearing cap, grab the other part of the drum via the 2 studs, and pull straight out. Let's set that off to the side. Alright, this part is the easy part of it, and it's wiring. You have, I don't know exactly which side it runs from, but you should have a wire. I like to run mine independent. I don't like sharing it, but if this is shared, then I'm going to have to pull that wire out of that tube and then cut it off the ends out here, because you have to take the backing plates off too. I don't remember the exact size of that, but I'll know here in just a minute. Let's get some of this shell out of here and put our cap. After I get the other shell out, put our cap inside the candy bucket too, and then we'll slip and slide on under here. Alright, so this is the end of the line over here. They have it ran through the tube. This is made by SureTrack. It's typically a high quality axle, but in this instance it's not. It could also be because someone decided to overload it. Alright, take our wire cutters and cut their connections at the connections on the axle side only, not on the opposite side. And then we'll be taking the grommet off when the axle is down, but we have to get the backing plate off first. And that looks like it's the 11/16. You could also try 17 millimeters. Sometimes it's a 17, sometimes it's an 11/16. Alright, let's go grab a socket. It's not in the bag. Be back momentarily. Alright, 2 wrenches, 11/16 and a 17 millimeter. Sometimes a 17 will work, sometimes it won't. Most of the times the 11/16 is the size that you need. So there's 4 nuts on the back side. They're not hard to get to, but they're not easy at the same time. So be prepared to have to lay down. Alright, the 11/16 fits. We're going to use the 17 as a cheater. If I remember correctly, there's lock washers on these, but these may be locking nuts and not lock washers. I do feel that they're flange nuts, so there's not going to be a lock washer on it. I also don't think that they're locking nuts. Yeah, they lock by the back of these. Oh, I missed. It's probably easier doing this with the axle drop down, but I haven't gone to the other side yet to remove the wires. Hello? Oh, missed that one too. You know, it might help to go the right way. Push, don't pull. It's a lot easier that way. Oh, come on. You see, that was a 17 millimeter on there. On the 11/16. Granted, it's much tighter, but it still works. You may not be able to do that all the time, but I was able to do it this time, and that's what matters. It's not going to work for that one. All right, let's get our cheater wrench in here. Breaking the torque, and the backing plate's already coming loose. she is. Now, just as a friendly reminder here, these do have a specific way that they go on. And if you look, the brake arm, armature, whatever you want to call it, is going to be on their front side. That way when you hit the brakes, it pushes, pulls, and then pushes it away. Pulling doesn't do anything. And then their wire connections. These are from whoever manufactured this trailer. You can cut the other end of this connection off on both sides of it, strip it back, and put a butt splice in, or you can scotch lock it. It doesn't matter which wire goes where. All you're wanting to see is polarity, or not polarity, but voltage. It doesn't matter if this is ground or hot, or vice versa. Oh, and it does say on the back of this one, right hand. So next on the list is going to be taking the leaf spring bracket loose. 1 second. Okay, it's nothing important. Not the leaf spring bracket, but the axle bracket where the U-bolts are. Those are 19 millimeter, I believe. I can check. I have a 19 millimeter. Yes. It's easiest if it's high enough, that way you don't have to use a wrench, but I have to go get a socket unless I have the 19 in that bag over there, and just get them out of there. Well, thankfully I have the long reach in here. I'm gonna go ahead and get down here on its level. Try not to hit the kid's bike in the process. There's one of two ways that you can do this. One way that I think is going to be the easiest is leaving the leaf spring bracket in, or leaf spring in its brackets, and then rotating the axle and shove it out the other side. Or you can take the leaf spring shackles loose and just let it fall out the front side. This guy's going to have U-bolts though, because it bottomed out at some point and completely destroyed the bolt. Alternatively, we could leave it on there and we might have enough space to be able to rotate this all out of there. Just have to get everything completely loose. Yeah, let's get y'all in here so you can see what I'm doing. Let's see what you see. I see what you see, but it's not very good view. Alright, time to drop. now you can kind of see. Alright, so this nut right here is smashed on the bottom side, and the one on the back side is the same way. So we're going to try to get all of our slack out as we can on this side, go over to the other side and do the same thing. And I'm pretty sure it's destroyed too. It may not be a bad idea just to get in contact with him and tell him to get 2 U-bolts. He's supposed to be coming to get tires put on here anyways. Alright, maybe we're almost there. And a bunch of crud on there. Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do. We're either going to have to tell them to go get new ones and cut these off, or go get new ones and cut these off anyways. Alright, be right back. Alright, I made it back without gloves. So it's time to get my hands all greasy. I'm going to make an attempt to take at least one of these all the way off. I don't know if it's going to go back on or not, but it would be nice if it did. This one wasn't mushroomed as bad as the other side was, but it was still mushroomed nonetheless. I'm not entirely sure if this one will come off, but it would be nice if it did. It's coming off there, slowly but surely. This one's probably not going to go back on because it's extremely tight all the way off. Well, it loosened up, so maybe. You can probably tell by the video just how much shorter one side is than the other. This side hit the ground. Alright, let me get my big head up in here. This side is officially loose. Now we'll take all of our tings to the other side. What did I use over there? I used I have somebody here. Alright, on to the next side. We're going to do just the same as the other side. Tappy tappy around the lip. You don't want to hit too hard because you don't want to end up breaking something or bending it. Try to find a gap if you can find one. Might have to go after a smaller flathead because this one is a wee bit mushroomed. Or there we go, there's a gap forming. Man, that's a lot of grease on this side. Barely any on the other. Now, same thing that we did to the other side, we're going to do to this one. We'll use the castle nut to do our prying until we get out far enough and we can use the cap housing or the hub, I don't know what you call it, this outer section. This one we can't reuse because I've bent it all to heck. So now we take our flathead, same way we did the other side, and find us a notch. And this one is much, much tighter than the other side was. Alright, we'll grab a glove. Come on. Well, this glove's been outside for too long, so it's deteriorated. We'll just use it to hold on to the greasy stuff. It'll be fine. Alright, there's our castle nut, same as the other side. It is a 1-inch castle nut. It's gonna have shells all in it. Alright, and that sits in there. Let's put the shell cover castle nut away. And then we will start taking this off, the brake assembly off. Let me get on down here to this level. And you can tell its tire has smacked the wall a few times. There's rubber up in here and rubber against the wall there. Let's see, you probably couldn't see what I was pointing at, but you can kind of see the rubber back here in the video, and you can see my stunned dog over there. He doesn't like me talking about him. It's all over the inside against the wall. He said that he just bought 2 tires and they both blew out. I can take a couple guesses as to why they did. Let's see which direction is loose from this side. Ah-wee. There's one. This is a little bit smaller, so I might have been able to get away with using the 17 wrench, the gear wrench, but then I wouldn't have a way of breaking it loose because the 17 wrench is closed on both ends. Get over here. Alright, front 2, then cut the wires to the backing plate. Hey, that was the name that I was looking for earlier. The backing plate. This is what this is called. Fill that tomorrow. I'm trying not to get in the camera's view, so I apologize if you see my big nose pop up. Where are you at? See, the last thing that we're going to have to do is take off these other wires that are coming in to the brakes. And on the new axle, instead of running it inside, the alternative is to run it outside naturally, because you only have an inside and an outside. And then zip tie it to the axle itself. And yes, I've done hundreds of trailers this exact way, and they never come back for a brake issue. Ugh. Man, where's that slickum spray? Here it is. Freeze off. You can get it from AutoZone. Some of the best stuff I've ever used ever. I use it like WD-40. I use it like the freezer to be able to freeze bearings. It has a refrigerant in it that cools off whatever you're spraying it on. I just spray it on everything. It also smells good. It doesn't smell bad like WD-40 does. And if you like the smell of WD-40, you're weird. Did this loosen? Yes, it did. We'll spin it the rest of the way down by hand, but I don't think it's going to come all the way off. You know, I'm really surprised it came as far as it did. It's going to come all the way off too, even though the bottom of the threads are a little boogered up. You'll notice here in just a minute, once I get the backside loose, that this whole axle will just flip either forward or backward, my guess is going to be probably forward since it's leaning more in that direction. This thing may not flip either direction. That bracket on the bottom, if it's welded in place, it won't move. But my guess is it's probably not welded in place. Girl, that is welded in place. I was wrong. Hello, where'd the nut go? I'm gonna put the other side of U-bolt back in and make it a little bit easier holding this thing still. It's all swedged out. Well, finally that's done. I said it was going to go that way, but I ended up making it go that way. Now would be the best time to have somebody helping so they can be on the other side fishing it through, but I've grown used to doing it myself. So I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to go to the other side, pick it up, and shove it this way. And just like that, it's out. Putting it back in is just as easy or hard, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm not sure what part of it's bent, but I'll let, if he's taking it with him, I'll let the trailer company decide that. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.